We haven't thought of an intro song. Um, you know what though?
Maybe I'll write one.
You could write one. We'll see if it gets taken down, but we're gonna play it anyway. And then if not, I have.
It's probably some crazy Grizz-like beat.
Nope, it's not. It's actually the opposite. And it's very kind of what I think I want this
It should be chill.
talk show. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Sports XXL. It's all going to be released under the Everybody Eats channel this moment when I get big.
I think if anyone's watching this, they're subscribed.
Yeah, it's alleged.
Let's be real.
That's alleged.
This may not even be released. Oh. Yeah.
Decent.
Oh. Everybody eats. Everybody eats. Yeah, baby. Everybody speaks.
All right.
And we ate. Just freestyle over the beat.
When they get in, you gotta let them go. Well, I think when I start cutting it.
What is this? Oh. Okay. Viagra Boys. Sports.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Down on the beach.
All right. We're getting copyrighted
Sports.
already. We're getting flagged for playing this song.
Sports. Sports.
Okay. That's enough.
Sports. Boom. And then just like that. And now we're live. You are tuned in. The first episode of Sports XXL of the new year, 2024.
The first episode in months.
A month. There's a hiatus. We'll speak on that in time. Possibly tonight, most likely tonight, as the events go. But I am your main host, Ray Reddy, otherwise known as Riz Ray.
I'm your other main host, Devon Parker.
In fact, the man with all of the facts, the logician, the one Parks Picks, as you know him now. But yeah, we're back. As simple as that. You tried to keep me away. A lot of people tried to keep me down. The haters, and I mean,
honestly, I think I've gotten more haters than you at this point.
Definitely in the sports realms, to put yourself out there in the sports picks guy, the haters are gonna hate, but you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna get real quiet when the winds start rolling around.
You just shake it off, though.
Oh, shake it off, shake it off.
The faker's gonna fake, the hater's gonna hate, but I just shake it off.
But respect. It's I'm happy to be back in front of the camera. If anything, that we've gotten over the first hump of that honeymoon phase, it's time to get serious. You can see mics. We got stands.
Yeah.
I have this. Sports XXL. We're in a new studio right now.
Just keep it casual,
And we're trying to. If anything.
Don't get too rigid.
But if anything, do you remember when our last episode dropped?
Probably March.
I think it was
March 24th.
Roughly around March. There was, speaking of March and speaking of the last videos, now that you've reminded me, in re-downloading the softwares and getting it ready, I have the video where Martin interrupts.
Oh, yeah. It's a good time.
Which, let me say it. Do you remember the ending of the video where you say, this needs to be seen by the world? Because it's the other side of content.
Yeah.
It's not always fun and happy, Ray.
That was the end of March.
And then, soon after that, we did stop making as much sports content. There's a couple of Squirrels games and stuff, but we're back. Local sports, global sports, international sports, women's sports, all sports. Sports XXL. Let's get to it, Devin. So, it is the first week of the year.
Yeah.
Many sports partook this past weekend. Many sports are partaking this coming weekend.
Yeah.
What do you have on your reader's guide to the weekend? What catches your attention?
I mean, I think primarily it's the NFL final week. The final weekend of the NFL. Lots of implications.
Many.
Lots of playoff implications. Who's going to make it? Who's not going to make it? Are the refs going to make another blown call and ruin another game? Well, I don't think you can bet on that, but I think you should be able to. I think you should be able to bet on the refs.
I think there are betting props where you're allowed to.
How many penalties?
Penalties, I wouldn't say game-changing penalties, but I think you're able to bet on certain things of, like, if someone throws their headset or other propositions that may not be as sports oriented, but always get the crowd going.
Yeah, well, so there's 2 games on Saturday. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Baltimore's resting their starters, so I don't think they're going to win that. Pittsburgh needs to win it to make it. So
How do you feel about the Saturday football games?
I think once the college football is over, that's good to go.
Is college football over though with bowl season? Because now they just collide, and
No.
now it's.
No, there's no bowls when there's NFL on Saturdays. I'll tell you that much. If there is, it's soft bowls.
Well,
that no
yeah,
one
but
watches.
it's the same idea that instead of these soft bowls getting viewership, they're getting clowned out by the NFL. I don't know. It's all
Well, there's
alleged.
no
I don't think
bowls
it's
this
respect.
weekend, folks. Don't worry.
It makes no sense to me.
All the bowls the Ray would never watch anyway.
When all the football that no one would watch because it's week 18, all the fantasy football most likely ended if you're a smart manager, unless you're a little man. But it just happens, and so it's not a important week for a lot of teams. A lot of fans have tuned out. Some people are still tuned in. It's being people that have. I mean, well, are you pointing at me or the Washington Commanders who are tanking? As we should. Hopefully,
you know
hopefully
what?
we
It
don't
does
waste
matter
our
for
pick.
those teams because you're trying to get the best draft pick possible. You're
Well,
trying to lose.
We're trying to lose, but
It's
it's,
chess,
it's
not
interesting
checkers.
because, as I understand it, we've traded away our picks for the next 7 years for all the people that we don't use. So it just, I don't want to get into it, but
Washington plus 13.5 against Dallas. Sam Howell's first start was last game against the Cowboys, and he won. So I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm just saying he's going to be juiced because this could be his last start ever because they're probably going to draft a quarterback in the top 5. So if you're Sam Howell, you're going to want to let that sack hang a little bit. You're going to want to try a little harder. And if he doesn't, well then, see you, bud. You're gone. You're sitting on the bench. That's how I feel about it.
respect. What's the next game?
So that game's actually Sunday, 4:25. The second game on Saturday is Houston and Indianapolis, both at 9-7. Both can win the division. And if Jacksonville loses, the winner of that game wins the AFC South. Everyone's going to be picking Houston. They got C.J. Stroud, rookie quarterback, maybe rookie of the year if he doesn't get hurt. Could still win it. But Indianapolis, all year, Gardner Minshew, under the radar, getting them wins. They're playing at home. So it's plus 1.5 Indianapolis. Basically, it's a pick 'em. I think Indianapolis, I believe they beat Houston the first game. I think they'll win again. Even though Houston is playing extremely well, division games are usually closer. The teams know each other a little better.
Well, a lot of money on the line there too. I think Houston's playing exceptionally well.
They are.
Rarely.
I don't want to take
would say
anything
would
away
you
from
hear
them.
a quarterback like this, but there was many. Well, we had Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Richardson. Any other rookie quarterbacks this season?
There's been a lot of them, and they've come and gone.
And he's one that stayed consistent as well.
Yes, he's really the only one. Bryce Young has been in all year, the number 1 pick. They are the worst team in the league, and they don't even have their
It's
picks this year.
expected though of a young guy getting out there that he's not going to be
It is.
apt to the league, and to see someone like C.J. Stroud come out balling in the extent, and obviously he and Tank Dell had that nice have a nice connection, but
Dell's
it's just
out for the year now.
It'll be an interesting one. As much as I love the Minshew madness, I might have to respect, but any other games in the NFL realm this weekend?
Well, yeah, I would say another good one, New Orleans, Atlanta. I think if they win that and Tampa Bay loses, then they will win the NFC South. I think they're going to easily beat Atlanta. I hate to say it. Heineke, he's benched again. They're putting Ritter out there. He's trash.
Two sad organizations, and I feel bad.
Atlanta is a lot like Washington.
Being a poopy stinky towards other. I mean, on the East Coast, Louisiana is my brother from another mother. They don't get much love either, and so.
And yeah, Derek Carr is he's one of the most average quarterbacks in the league, but he can win you games. That's the thing.
No, and it's how many games odds Derek Carr ends up in Washington.
Don't even say that, dude.
Yeah, speaking into
More like
existence.
Russell Wilson. Because he's probably leaving Denver.
I wouldn't say I love that, but I take Russell Wilson over Derek Carr.
He's a Richmond native, so you can't hate him.
No,
You can't
and
hate on him. He's a
his
Christian
hometown
man.
boy coming home. It's like the prodigal son. He went out there. He tried to sell pigs. No one bought his pigs. He's come home.
Yeah, if only KD
and they
would
take
do
him
that.
in, and we'd celebrate him. We would celebrate Russell Wilson, Washington Wilsons.
They probably would be bad.
Wilson.
But I would be hyped for like a few games until he sucks.
There'd be some Wilson madness.
But
we get a W and it'd be meme central.
It doesn't matter if New Orleans wins, because if Tampa Bay wins, and they're playing the worst team in the league in Carolina, by 4.5, Tampa Bay, as bad as they were against New Orleans last week, that seems like a gimme to me. 4.5 against Carolina. I know it could be a little shaky. Carolina's playing better after they fired their coach, but Baker Mayfield, I believe in him. Not many do, but I believe he can win games when he needs to.
No, and it's been interesting because it's coming down to decision day. Decision day is upon us.
Oh, it's in Carolina. That doesn't matter. Tampa Bay will win that. And then Jacksonville, Tennessee for the other AFC South game. I think if Jacksonville wins against Tennessee, they win the division. 3.5. Tennessee's pretty bad now. Jacksonville's been bad, but I think it's the lesser of two evils. Jacksonville come away with that one probably. You can't really trust Tennessee. Who even knows who their quarterback is now? I think it's Tannehill again. And then also the NFC East, Philly, Giants. If you notice, every team is playing a divisional opponent. That's how it works on the last day of the season. Helps to determine tie breaks and such. Philly needs to win that if they want to win the division, because they need Dallas to lose.
Well, it's the interesting thing of they've already made the playoffs, so I won't say who really cares, but it's like
they care. They want a home game. That's big.
Allegedly, I mean, no, the home games are big, but then it's also you don't want to try too hard and injure some of your best players as you're going into it.
Now, if you're Baltimore, sure, that's fine. But then there's a debate of, okay, well, take 2 weeks off because they're the number one seed. Is there going to be rust? For Philadelphia, they need a win going to the playoffs because they've been scuffling. They lost to Arizona at home last week. You can't go in losing the Giants and Arizona. You're done after that, especially if you're playing on the road. You could be playing a team like Detroit. Or actually, I guess they would be playing the NFC South team. They'll probably win that one. But still, you don't want to take a risk. You'd rather be at home against a wild card team. They need to beat the Giants. And you know what? I actually think the Giants could keep it close like they did on Christmas Day. +5, if you're feeling a little dangerous, Giants +5. I think they know Philly enough, and Philly's bad enough lately that it could be close. Giants, I'm not going to say pick them to win, but at least +5.
I think I couldn't be farther away from that take.
Arizona just beat them.
You're not
one
wrong.
of the worst teams in the league.
You're not
at
wrong.
home.
You're not wrong.
And the Giants
are
a divisional
on paper,
opponent.
and there's in form and there's on paper.
And their defense has been bad. And they're at the Meadowlands. All right. I could be dead wrong. I often am. But you know what? I watch all these games every week. I see players play. And Tyrod Taylor's in.
What do players do? They make plays.
Yeah, they do make plays.
It's time for players to make
Tommy
plays.
DeVito, madness is over. He's back on the bench, but Tyrod Taylor is a veteran quarterback who could he's kind of like Jacoby Brissett in Washington.
Is he healthy?
He is healthy now.
Okay.
He'll be playing.
Respect.
You know what?
Tyrod, VA legend.
Yeah,
that's
Virginia
my
Tech.
That's my favorite VA legend, to be honest.
Another.
You know where he's from?
No, I just know he went to Tech.
Pretty sure he's from the 7-5.
Oh, okay. Well,
could be alleged.
There's a reason
don't quote me on that.
For him, I guess. And one interesting NFC East tidbit is there has not been a repeat champion since 2003. That's I think 2003. It's been like 20 years. So you gotta. I'm going with it's gonna continue, and the Cowboys will win it this year. There won't be a repeat champion. We got to keep that streak going. And so that means Washington losing, but let's be real, that'll probably happen.
Washington, I mean,
they have nothing to play for anyway.
No.
Except the players do. Howell does. But Rivera's done.
No.
He's out.
Please get him out. Please
Sorry.
Get him out.
Bye-bye.
Please, it's time.
Maybe not Bieniemy, but probably him too.
when it's, this is a defining year for the Commanders, if you could ever say that, it didn't go as well, and now the recoup and whatnot, rebuild is officially happening. And
Well,
we'll see.
Then comes the question: do you trade up and get the local kid, Caleb Williams, number one, DC native? Do you trade up with Chicago and go for him, or maybe get Heisman winner Jaden Daniels this year? You go. It's hard to go wrong, in my opinion. But I think now is the time to. This would be the first time they pick in the top 5 at least a quarterback since RG3. So I think you either got to get a lineman and protect Howell. You're all in on him, or get a quarterback you can trust. I think we're at that point now.
And it's, I wouldn't say alleged, but like the quarterbacks you can trust. How many of these first rounders end up washing out, and then the
Plenty
third,
of them.
fifth,
Yeah.
seventh rounders are the ones that end up eating?
The
and
Panthers really screwed themselves, but we won't know yet. But Bryce Young hadn't looked that good this year, and now they're the worst team in the league, and they don't even have a first-round pick. So you could screw yourself, but you need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Or you're going nowhere.
Well, if anything, I think this may be our first year having a first-round pick since RG3.
Oh, no.
No?
Brandon Scherf. I mean, last year they picked Emmanuel Forbes, the cornerback, in like the middle of the first round. Dwayne Haskins, they picked RIP first round.
I mean, the early.
He was a quarterback.
No, fact.
Chase Young was second overall a few years ago. He's now been traded. So they've hit on some picks. They've kind of missed a little bit, but quarterback is what you need to start with, and then you can build around him. But the thing is, if you don't have an offensive line, you're really putting them at risk.
Oh, bro, it's hunting season whenever people play Washington.
It was definitely in the first half of this year. It's been a little better as of late.
Sacks allowed, we have close to this, I think, top of the league, and it's
yeah, they were on pace to set a record.
Anyone put them in that backfield and try and have them run anything, it's like lighting a kitchen on fire and asking someone to cook. It's I mean, Howell has done exceptionally well with it.
I'm not doing that.
But I mean, it'd be a lot of players from
I see what
Washington
you're saying, though. Yeah,
go to some other team and end up having much better careers because they're able to cook finally in a clean kitchen. And so, I mean, it's a shame, but it's, hopefully with the rebuild and what's going on, and watch us be clipped by the fucking Commanders in some hype video. Like, yeah, well, these positive numbers.
Yeah, well, this is what they do in radio stations in D.C., like 106.7 The Fan. They'll just
fantasize.
They'll just talk about the Washington football team all day for hours. They'll go to the calls. They'll bring in experts. They'll talk about it among themselves. You'd think there isn't any other teams in the city. It's sad. I don't want to end up being that guy, but I mean, the last game of the season, once it's over, can focus on maybe some other teams in the city.
Speaking
as bad
of
as they
seasons
are.
being over, there's a season coming to an end.
Yeah.
This weekend, and I wouldn't say coming to an end. It's still bowl season still continues on.
Well, wait. There's one more game we should go over because it is maybe the biggest NFL game of the year, or I don't know if the year, but definitely the weekend. So maybe the year. But Buffalo, Miami, Sunday night.
Blowout.
They're playing for the AFC East. And so the winner of that will win the division. And if Buffalo loses, they could not make the playoffs at all if a few things don't go their way, like Pittsburgh winning and Jacksonville winning. But I think Miami is kind of like Philly right now. They're scuffling. They got killed by Baltimore. They barely beat Dallas. They had total choke job against Tennessee a few weeks ago versus on Monday night. So Buffalo is trending in the right direction. It's going to be in Miami, but they fired their offensive coordinator, and since then their offense has looked a lot better. I think Buffalo by 3. I think that's a good bet, or just to win straight up too. I think. They have more playoff experience at this point, and maybe, it's been shaky results in the playoffs.
Well, it's not playoffs.
They've been in big games. Tua, he won a championship in college, but he's not started a playoff game yet.
Tua throws the most catchable ball. But statistically, Mike Daniels proved that.
Why? How did he do that?
Well, it's a fact. It's just he throws the most catchable ball.
Yeah, well, he's got to make sure he's not getting
Moneyball.
sacked.
It's Moneyball.
It's Moneyball.
It's money, and yes,
Don't fall in
they
love
got
with
shellacked
the
by
Miami hype
Baltimore
and
last
all the hard
weekend.
knock stuff.
But that being said, it says Ronnie was on the field. You see Stavros on? Did you know Ronnie Stavros?
I'm well aware of Stavros.
He was on the field. I mean,
Why do they call him Ronnie?
Well, I don't know why he was calling himself Ronnie.
I know him from Cometown, and now he's gone. Now he's off that, and all these people know who he is.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, how big.
I don't know. He quit on the boys.
Allegedly, the boys are coming around, but the career is taken off, and that comedy and podcasting has taken a major realm. Not shift from sports real quick, but why are we talking on podcasting and stuff? It's this thing where this talk radio used to be super big because everyone's in their cars, and then now people realized, I can just put it on my phone, and so instead of me listening to Jiminy Crickets up in Northern Virginia talking about Jack knows what, you're talking to people that develop audiences and stuff. And Stavros is a funny comedian, has been developing an audience for years. Cometown was a great podcast. Many people told me about it. And then now he's taken off, and he had a special just recently, and then he's been just doing the rounds of hitting Cali and all the rounds. So it's very, but such a great greasy guy.
He is. You're not quite as greasy as that.
Not yet. Not
You're
yet.
hairy,
but
but
I have time to get there. I could get greasier, depending on how we go. I am beginning the first amounts of building an online audience.
You want to do an Everybody Eats calendar shoot where we're all in our underwear or bathing suits?
And flannels, yeah.
Yeah.
Both.
And maybe
you
some
said
cats.
underwear. Do you want to get in your underwear? Would you do a calendar shoot if we did it? We've broken from the sports content, but that's okay.
Potentially.
This is honestly what the people want.
Martin would.
Well, I didn't ask about Martin's opinion. You brought it
because
to
I think people would be more interested in that than me. People don't want to see me shirtless.
But I think I disagree with you. I disagree.
Okay.
In 2 of our segments that involved you being shirtless, those went semi-viral. In the bowling,
Maybe for the wrong reasons.
Bowling, you were talking about bowling and you were shirtless.
Yeah.
And the running video, where I think a lot of people were kind of curious about your back. And that, when I aesthetically looked at it, there was a running, and then there's a little red line in the back.
People making me insecure about my body.
That's
the
and
internet
that's where
for
I
you.
asked
Am I
you.
right?
I said, "Did you feel pain?" And you're like, "Well, I feel pain all over already anyway." But
no,
my back doesn't hurt any different. And I was like,
"That's not a thing. It's already there." So
when you guys were running around barefoot in the rain, and there's cobblestone and many things. You were doing sit-ups on the brick.
I was, and you know what?
And so that's why I asked you if you were in pain.
So what?
And then you said you weren't. And so, but I think the people want you shirtless. Possibly.
It is funny if I'm shirtless or something and just doing nothing, and people are like, "Is he okay? Does he need to eat?"
Well, you try. Everybody eats. You try.
People trying to be
the
nice, but they're
crazy.
just super rude.
Well. That's I wouldn't say a whole different thing, but it's as I try and get
if you put yourself out there on the internet, people feel like they are entitled to comment on your appearance.
Yeah, 100%.
And I understand that, but
100%,
you have to be ready for it.
It's interesting because I think there's 2 ways to be about it, of a learning, which also can come off as funny, and then there's a rude where it's it can be intended to be mean but also funny, and it's just depending on how people come off. Yeah. Devon is healthy. He could eat more.
I don't know about
I could
that.
eat more.
I wouldn't say I'm healthy, but I'm alive.
You're healthy. Enough.
Yeah. I don't know if any of us are really fully healthy. None of us are real athletes.
What is this system that they're telling us we have to live by?
I don't know. There's body mass and height.
They told us
stuff.
to get a vaccine, Devon. How about that?
They did.
Next, they're telling us that we have to. They're telling kids they have to play outside 60 minutes a day. Well, that's not Fortnite, so I don't want to do that. So.
You could play outside on video games outside. We do that. We've done that.
What if I do VR? Is that not outside?
We're all going to end up like outside. The people in WALL-E, where we're just fat and we have robots doing things for us. We can't move.
Respect. I'm going to just make sure. You're not wrong. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to make sure the camera's still rolling before we...
All right.
Keep running into the distance.
Yeah. I'm going to slump real quick.
All right, we're at 30 minutes.
Okay.
It says we're still recording. This is going to be fucking high. And we're on 4K right now, Devon.
Okay,
we're
that's
in
scary.
4K, motherfucker.
All right, so Monday night, is the College Football National Championship.
All right, I need more pizzazz. What is this yawning getting?
It's
if you're
it's
getting
late,
into,
bro, and
can
I can
we
feel a
cut scene?
cold coming on. All right,
All right,
so
well, cut scene. Cut.
we're not cutting.
Jamie.
No,
All
there's
right,
no cutting.
okay.
We're still
Ready?
going.
3, 2, 1. Monday night on
No.
ESPN.
No,
What's happening Monday night?
the College Football Championship.
Pizzazz. There it is. Freaking Monday, the freaking national championship.
And this year it's not at 9:00. It's actually at like 7:30.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
it's earlier than it's not going to end at midnight. I don't
It's
think.
still gonna end at midnight. No way it doesn't.
You know what? College football games, they're like 3.5 hours long.
Dude, football's 3.5 hours.
No, NFL is usually like 3. College is like 3.5, pushing 4. And no one talks about that because I guess there's only like, there's like 10
no
regular
one talks
season
about
games.
it. Any person that doesn't fucking love football, I mean, I'm a soccer guy.
No, let's
One
not
of the
do
reasons
this,
I love
man.
soccer, there's no commercials. When there is commercials, they just put them in the middle so you
what?
don't have to
Sometimes
watch.
There's no scoring either.
I disagree. Although the game I watched today, there's no scoring. You're not wrong. But
That's-
that being said, it
that's
makes it.
not
So it's like this.
acceptable to
It's
me.
like this. It's like this. And someone said it's like if you score every weekend and do all this, it gets less fun. Whereas when you score once in a blue moon, people go berserk. People go absolute. I mean,
Not me.
not you, but that's because you haven't been encapsulated by the wave yet. It's one of my favorite things is just watching highlight tapes and listening to the sound of the crowd start to get hype.
Ray, this
Where
weekend
it's
is
like-
for American football. Don't ruin it.
I mean, American football.
Just
There's many things that happen this weekend.
You know what? Just give this weekend, this weekend, just give it to America, please.
Well, I was gonna give it to America, but then you had to come in and say all these wild things that just.
All I was
Commercials.
saying is it's
Why
they're long.
why is a
Games
game
are long?
Why is a game 3.5 hours?
I don't know,
when
bro.
It takes
I don't want it to be
high
that long.
schoolers to play this game that's unrecorded and no commercials, an hour and a half at most.
The quarters are longer in college, right? They're 15 minutes.
I mean, 15 minutes. It's
NFL is 12.
they're playing an hour-long
Am I
game,
ro- am
and
I,
then
like,
it would most likely
wrong?
be 2 hours at most. They've stretched this game out into a 3-hour experience that is, it's an ordeal.
If
We're
you're
gonna get away
if you're
from
at
that.
the games, it's different because it's like you're there.
I'm not talking
you're
about
having a
after
good
game.
time. I'm saying if you're at the games. Anyway,
You're right. I'm not at the games. It's 1 p.m. I'm watching football. Don't get me wrong. I love Red Zone.
where's
Scott
the
Hansen.
championship this year? Where is it? I think it's interesting to see the demographics of people will travel regardless though, but it's Washington versus Michigan. Tickets starting at $820, and it's at NRG Stadium in Houston. It's pretty
Houston, H-Town.
localized.
$800 to get in the door.
Yeah, it's big, and maybe if Alabama was in or Texas, if it was Texas playing in Texas, it'd be over $1,000. People, they would have the whole stadium controlled.
That's someone's rent just to watch.
It's
a
more
game.
than my rent, personally.
No, I mean respect, but that's like.
But think of all the
to
content you could
sit.
get.
Oh, and that's the exclusiveness of it now. And not in this world, but like, $800.
Yeah, that's maybe before fees. Probably closer
Before
to
fees?
could be closer to 1,000.
Before fees.
We're not going. We're not going though. We're just gonna be observing on television.
At home, I'm gonna be here. They allegedly might have a little watch party. We'll see.
Okay.
I guess depending on what you're doing.
So the line
So
is
teams again.
it's Michigan and Washington. Michigan beat Alabama overtime,
A step.
27-20.
And I thought they kind of handled the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I
They looked-
actually
they looked
really
good
I
in
thought
control.
Alabama was going to win even in overtime. I thought the whole time they were going to win because they have the experienced coach. They've been there before. Michigan always loses the big games in playoffs, but they came away with it despite all the scandals and all the doubters, all the naysayers.
Let the naysayers know.
You got to let the naysayers know.
Let the naysayers know.
And Washington beat Texas 37-31. And you know what? I turned that game off late because I was like, Washington has this. Texas had a chance with on the last possession
They brought
to
it
win
back.
it.
They brought it back. It was really late. I wasn't a fan
And I
of it
saw
being so
they had
late.
an onside kick and they didn't get it. So I looked on my phone. I was like, all right, it's over. And then somehow they get the ball back. But that was New Year's Day. It was a long day of booing and observing.
Respect.
But Washington won, and
So,
they've won a lot of close games this year, and they're undefeated.
I mean, I wouldn't say two iconic teams, but two teams I think you thought about at the beginning of the season, with Penix being the lead quarterback for Washington, very kind of comical name,
Michael
and then
Penix Jr.
Michigan having so many scandals and Harbaugh not being there for a portion and
Yeah,
all that, and then now coming around. I wouldn't say it's a perfect season for both, but there is
it could be.
mixing
one of
for
them,
a
it will be.
beautiful story.
If Michigan wins this, you can forget about all that other stuff because the Patriots won despite Deflategate, despite Brady getting suspended. They won the Super Bowl. No one cares about that stuff anymore.
Well, and that's where who do you think takes this? What's the spread?
Well, the spread is Michigan 4.5, which is fair. Michigan is the better defense. They're number one team in the country. I think where Washington might have the edge is the quarterback play and their offense. I was a naysayer against them with Texas. I thought Texas would win. I thought they were the better team, and it turns out they weren't. Washington, they weren't favored against Oregon twice. They beat Oregon twice. So to me, it's like Washington, they keep proving the naysayers wrong. So I think Washington plus 4.5 could be the move. Maybe money line.
It's a great game to pontificate.
The problem is
my word of the week.
Their defense is maybe a little suspect. So they would have to maybe win it in a kind of shootout. But I think they have the better quarterback play, and I think they know how to win close games. And if you do that, you usually go pretty far, and you can win a championship.
Dude, of all things, I wouldn't say I got home blood in the Washington, but this kid I went to high school with, I believe his name, I don't know if it was Darnell Duckett. I'm trying to remember his name exactly, but he's now a cornerback coach at Washington.
Okay.
And it's been I wouldn't say a thrill, but like seeing these kids from your high school go on and glow up. We've had one that played for Boise, was a wide receiver, and this guy has gotten into the coaching of it and seems to be a good one and getting in there. And so
we got one in the NFL in our school. Not to one up you.
Oh, respect.
Houston Texans, MJ Stewart.
Okay. Shout out.
Special teams
Shout
cornerback.
Out. Shout out to 804.
North Carolina, second round pick. That's the best Yorktown's ever done. Probably, maybe ever will do. So, respect.
No,
respect to your friend, or if you never knew him, but
Bishop
Ireton
we're Facebook
guy.
friends, so I mean,
That's all that really
Gotta
matters.
have known him enough, but
I think I might be Facebook friends with the NFL dude, but who knows? That's not real friendship.
I don't know if I can money line Michigan or if I can money line.
You can't.
I'm a
turn
money
your back on
with
boys.
with a game
money
this
line
big,
Washington.
When
4.5. Take the over. Smash the over. I took the under in Texas Washington. Dumb. But the under hit in Alabama Michigan. But those are two good defenses. This is a good defense and a good offense.
And I think in this situation,
I know defense wins championships, but so does offense sometimes.
That's not what I was gonna say at all. Actually, I was gonna go completely, not awry, but based on Washington being the same name as the Washington Commanders.
That's doing something for you.
I don't think two Washingtons can lose in the same weekend. That one is going to have glory and one will demise.
Well, they both, I guess, yeah.
But
they haven't lost
that
yet
being
this
said,
year. Okay.
The Houston Astros had a scandal-ridden title run and they won. And I think it's almost the perfect story for Michigan to take it all. As much as I don't want to say it, I think it's the perfect storm.
No, I mean, I won't argue with that. I think Michigan, I guess part of me doesn't even want to see Michigan win. But they definitely can.
No, and that's the haters will throw an asterisk on it, and that's where you'd love to see a team like
No,
Washington come in and show it so it's clean
yeah,
and quiet all the doubt, because there will always be an asterisk on the Deflategate and all that involved. But it's like, all right, for what, because if they got called out, there's probably been people watching a whole bunch recently. So,
well,
tis
for
what
all
it
these
is.
scandals, it's the kind of thing where like a bunch of people do it, but they got caught.
Well, I mean, Devin, I think that's a great way to, you know, one of my favorites. One of the weekly contents I want to get into. The phrase of the week is, a lot of people are doing it. Would you do it if there was no one looking? And it's like,
Smoking
there's
weed.
jumping off a bridge,
Would I do that if no one was looking?
getting naked in the woods. I don't know. There's a lot of things. It's like it's the golden rule, and it's a subconscious where it's like the quote is something along. I forget exactly the quote, but it's more so of like, what you do when people are looking is something and says volumes about you. But when you do when no one is looking is the true character of the person, and whether it's
Yeah, jerking off.
going to the gym, or playing video games, or dashing, or writing content, or whatever. But it's that when no one's looking kind of aspect.
And you know what? Ray lives alone, so we have no idea what he does here alone.
It's a wild world. Me and Jamie
Him and a cat.
and my cat. But respect. That was an excellent attempt. We'll see if we're back up with 24. It's a little late.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Okay, I guess that's it.
Respect. Heck yeah, and then let's do if anything. Let's do a sit forward picture.